Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Ladies Fashion Showcase. I'm Astrid and here with my tag team partner, Melba. How are you, Mel?
I am finally not hurting. I can lift my arm
Yes.
up and it doesn't
She's
hurt.
human
I'm so
again.
happy. I feel human again. I got the robotic arm transplant. She's capable of putting her fist through walls now. Don't mess with me. How are
Yes.
you doing, my friend?
I am a little bit tired, but I'm doing okay. I know it feels weird in this setup, but I feel like this was almost like an emergency type of meeting for us. I
It
mean,
really
with
is.
with all the events that happened, this is why we're recording this tonight, Wednesday night, and airing it today, Thursday, because we figured we had to get ahead of this before it becomes old news at this point. So it's like, might as well
Mhm.
get it going and talk about this while it's the hot topic, to put it like that. So
Yeah.
it's probably not going to be a long episode, but we do have a few things that are important to discuss. But yeah, really excited
Mhm,
for this.
mhm.
So I figure we'll start with Forbidden Door because you and I, even though it's a little bit old at this point, you and I haven't been able to discuss it yet with the women's division
No.
and the matches we had. I know one of them that you definitely enjoyed was definitely Mina versus Tony. How was that for you?
Oh my God. It was everything that I expected and more because we got Toni Storm, who already has that stardom background. She knows exactly what it is that the stardom audience kind of expects. She gave that best combination of that North American classic style with that Japanese strong style. But what I loved the most about the whole thing was the story that led up to it. There was such a background of story. I have to pull my notes out here to make sure I have everything correct in what I'm saying about this because the went not just across AEW television. It went into Stardom. It went into the NJPW kind of era with Windy City, I think it was. There was so much involvement in this story to build up to this pop off moment that ended up being so good, so vicious. And then at the end, it was just like three besties just walking off into the sunset with glitter and glitz, sparkle, and shoes. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed also how it included a lot of other women throughout these other companies. Viva Van teaming with Mina. Um, we had what was her name? Anna Jay, Soraya. And what's Soraya's little puppet person?
Jeez, I keep
Haley,
forgetting. No, is it
Harley.
Harley Cameron? Yeah, I think
I
Harley. Yeah.
sure the pretty one who just is constantly staring
Just
creepily. That one.
yes.
Yeah, they included so many other people in the build up to that match
Yeah.
who are just so important as well in that
Hmm.
story as the two kind of main characters and Mariah. Yeah, the match itself was just so high speed, so fast paced, but then so many good strikes. Mina throwing her fist around like that spinning back fist she does is so good.
Hmm.
But Tony throwing her ass around too, just it was so good. Astrid, what do you think of it?
You know, my favorite thing about this too is that for, let's say, for people that watch only AEW, Mina was somebody nobody knew, to put it like that. And to come in and she took that world in AEW by storm to the point that, people are loving her. People want to see her more often now. And I feel it's probably if I'm not mistaken, to me, at least in my opinion, one of the shortest, I want to say, like, moments, because she wasn't there for long so far. I know she might return soon, but thinking
Mhm.
of just the storyline in particular, she wasn't there for long, but she won the hearts of the people in such a short period of time. It was mesmerizing to see. I just
Mhm.
love, like, the post everybody was talking about. It's like, oh, I love Mina, I love her energy and her character and all so many things. And I was like, and this is why I love about involving other companies. The fact that you see somebody and you're like, who is this? I want to know more about them. And you end up like falling in love with them through this whole process. And it's like, she was one of those that, to me, it was like so high up in this sort of way with her, because she has such an energy that is contagious in a good way.
Mhm.
And I keep thinking about the fact that I see so many people kind of like liking her and like wanting to see her return already, just because of the storyline by itself. And this was
Mhm.
what, probably like a month or two, maybe. It wasn't even that long. And like you said, thinking of the fact that, there's so many things that happen. We had matches, we had segments, so we had a mix of things. So to me, this was definitely one of my favorite like woman storylines in AEW, just because of the fact that it was something that was consistent. There was always something happening. There was, whether it was a match or it's something backstage, an interview, a whole segment in the ring, something was happening. There was always progression, and it was consistent. We don't get that often with AW in the women's division, that something happens on a weekly basis. And this literally happened from the moment she showed up on screen, even beforehand, to Forbidden Door. And I love that. I love seeing that. I don't know whoever pitched the story, whoever started doing the idea for it. I love the consistency. That was definitely my favorite part of this, the fact that we got to see this on a weekly basis up until it happened. So I hope that when she does return, we do get something similar to that, because I love the balance that we got from it. It was really well done. Again, seeing her, it was just a great introduction to a lot of people, and I love and I hope that people continue on to see her when what she does afterwards because of that too. And this is why I love about these kind of partnerships, when you get these moments. I feel like a lot of people cannot replicate what happened between them.
I agree. I agree. And what I find interesting, and what something my other tag partner Andre C pointed out on one of our episodes, um, Mina is not currently being advertised, or is doesn't currently have a place in the Stardom Grand Prix, and the Grand Prix has become quite extensive. There's quite a few blocks. There's quite a few people in each block. They've actually kind of changed the how they kind of do it. I do think it is becoming more of a twin, like almost a sorority, I'm going to say, to the fraternity of NJPW. So their tournaments are starting to look pretty similar, which is good for me, because that means I don't have to put a lot of thought into keeping track of their stuff. But yeah, that being said, again, Mina has not been announced in the Grand Prix, and the Grand Prix is going to be happening when this kind of blowout between Mariah and Toni is going to be going down. So I'm wondering if Mina is still going to play some kind of part in this feud. It would make sense to continue on those good relations, to continue on if the people want Mina. I know I sure did. My whole little horde of people were just chanting for Mina when she did the run in, when they were in Edmonton. So yeah, I definitely am hoping to see more of Mina. I would say she's probably one of the more marketable people to bring over from Stardom, just because she can actually speak English a little bit more. um, what's the word I'm looking for? Clearly, I think. Because there are a few Stardom women who can speak English. It's just a little bit more broken. Whereas Mina can string together sentences pretty effortlessly, and as we saw in this feud. So yeah, and also the fact that Mina is also tagging with the world champion right now. She actually shares a title in the Artist of Stardom Championships with other faction members, Xena and Micah, world champion. So like, could we see this as another kind of opening of that forbidden door? Could we see her coming over with Xena, who also worked with Mariah? Could we see Micah coming over and being like, hey, don't know you too well, but like, any friend of Mina's a friend of Micah's, like, maybe we could see some crossover. Maybe we could see Toni get some new little people to combat that threat. Toni, please feel free.
Yeah,
Take the ideas.
and I think she, if I'm not mistaken, I'm trying to find it real quick. The tweet that I just saw from Mina reacting to the whole thing that happened. We'll talk about that in a moment, because I definitely want to show the video more than anything.
Mhm.
But she retweeted the video. She went, "No, I can't sort out my feelings," but she put a lot of no's as she was doing this with the video of everything that just happened to them. So that we'll talk about in a moment. But I I can see the involvement so far based on that tweet alone. So I'm excited for that as well. And
Mhm.
again, I'll talk about it a little bit more later on when it comes to that part and everything that happened, because this is one of those moments that I think you've seen a clip of it, but not much. But I definitely want to show it to you again, because I want to see your reaction. And not only that, but it's one of those moments that the women in AEW don't often main event, so when they do, they has to have a purpose for it, and definitely tonight it had a purpose more than so. And to think it ended this way was just surprising. But I did want to before we go on to that, I want to talk about the second match that we have for Forbidden Door. That was Stephanie Vaquer versus Mercedes. For it was title for title. So now Mercedes is a double champion, and yeah, it's just that was one of those that I was really torn about because I knew that Stephanie was on a great run. So I was thinking I don't want that to end. She's looking great. I love how the look of her with all her championships, and I didn't want that to end. And I was like, that visual alone was incredible. So I
Mhm.
was torn because I obviously wanted Mercedes to keep her title, but I didn't want her to win for Stephanie's title. And it was like one of those ones that I was hoping it would have some kind of double DQ. It was one of those ones that I wouldn't mind that if that happened then, to like protect
Mhm.
both of the ladies. But we have Mercedes as double champion now, so that led on to now the return of Britt Baker, and we already had a little bit of a showdown between both of them on the mic. And
Mhm.
so far, it's been great. I love that Britt return at this time. We get like the original of AEW versus somebody like an outsider that just started AEW with Mercedes. So I feel like it's a really interesting dynamic, to put it like that. And Britt has said in multiple interviews in the past that she's been influenced by the Four Horsewomen when it comes to wrestling. So I think it's something that's pretty amazing that she gets to share the ring and be in the storyline with one of them at least.
Mhm.
That's pretty exciting. But I think the match in itself, I think it again, it happened kind of similarly to Mina. For the people that didn't know about Stephanie, this was also a great introduction. They put out a banger because that match was incredible, and it just tore me up. It was like I didn't want it to end. It was so well done. And I really loved it from beginning to end. And I didn't know who to cheer for. I was just watching, so concentrated. I didn't know what to feel, and I was like, I don't want to watch it, but it's gonna happen. But
Mhm.
again, that was another incredible match for the ladies, and I feel like it definitely put Stephanie Vaquer on the map for a lot of people.
Mhm. Oh, 100%, 100%. I've been privy to Vakia for a little bit. I've been seeing her, like, I watch CMLL from time to time because I like to suffer. I have a problem. I love Lucha Libre, but like sometimes it's too much for me to follow. There's too many weird rules that like make me confused and angry, and I don't like yelling at my television that much. But with this match in particular, it there were certainly lucha tendencies in this, but it was certainly more of a traditional style kind of match with Vaquier obviously throwing kicks a little bit more in there because she's very good at them, and Mercedes throwing hands because she's good at throwing hands. What I like is that this isn't really there are very two distinct people in that one person. Mercedes Mone and Sasha Banks to me are two completely different wrestlers with two completely different styles, two completely different personas. Um, and if I'm being completely honest, I didn't like Sasha Banks. She was my least favorite of the horsewomen. I thought her personality was phenomenal. You could see that the charisma and the talent was there, but it felt pressed. Like she almost felt this is a weird analogy, and I'm sorry for it, but it's the best one to describe it. She felt like a dog barking at the fence. It's like you know that dog can do damage, but the dog's on the other side of the fence, so you're not too intimidated by the dog, right? That fence has been removed, and Mercedes Monet is now coming at you. You need to be a little bit more afraid because she has this whole different level of training that just makes her absolutely savage. I have loved every match that I've seen of Mercedes. I can't say that about Sasha. So this match was for me amazing because each woman got off their stuff that they are known for, the signatures that they're known for. We got to see that weird Brazilian lap dance that Vaquer does that I absolutely love, where she slams her face into the ground with her legs. I love it. It was
I
so
hate that
good.
move.
I don't know what else to call it, but
Me
like
neither.
that's what it looks like to me. Um, not a lap dance I would sign up for personally, but no. Um, the end of the match though felt something about it felt odd. I don't know if it's just because I was kind of feeling like, huh, about it because I was all up in my feels. Because on one hand, exactly what you said. Vaquer has been on a rise, and she's been on a rise for a hot minute. Mercedes has kind of been here, then gone, then here, then gone, then here, then gone. She can't help if she gets injured. That's just, it is what it is. But like, Vaquer has been here. Mercedes has been hot and cold. That being said, Mercedes is so much more marketable right now. because she's not just doing things within professional wrestling. She's got her cannabis thing that she's still doing that, right? She's got her
From what
cannabis
I've seen,
business that
yes.
she runs.
Hmm.
Yeah, so she's got that. She's doing movies and television. She's got this other career that she can take the titles to and show off and bring more attention and clout to AEW and subsequently NJPW, being the strong women's champion. Vaquer at that time, a Forbidden Door
Yeah.
was just with CMLL. She was pretty much, I wouldn't say exclusively in Mexico, but there was a higher volume of things that she's doing exclusively in Mexico versus the rest of North America, let alone the rest of the world. So, from a marketing standpoint, it does look better to have the title on Mercedes. What I didn't like about this, and I might get some heat for this, I don't really care. I didn't like Britt Baker coming out. Your presence wasn't necessary. Mercedes did the exact same thing to Willow, and I felt the same way about Mercedes
Hmm.
doing this as well. Your presence wasn't necessary. There was something already going on. There's a celebration of a new champion. Why why do you have to be that girl?
Hmm.
Look at me, look at me. We're looking at somebody else right now. You mind your business, stay in your lane. And like for me, if you're gonna waste everybody's time popping off your music and coming out, you may as well waste your time walking all the way down to the fracking ring, just
Yes.
sitting there on the stage going. So like I know that Britt Baker is a very strong woman. I've seen some of her matches. She's a very competent, great wrestler. She oozes charisma. That I just did not like. I didn't see the point of it. I didn't see the purpose. And now it's becoming a consistency. So it's like, oh, what's going to happen when we get a new women's champion? Yuck. Is the next challenger going to come out and meander around the stage, ruin their celebration? Yuck.
Yeah.
Probably. Let's hope
Yeah.
not. But yeah, that's how I felt
No,
about that.
I definitely understand where you're coming from. I also expected it in a way because at Forbidden Door, people are used to. I don't want to put it like that, but it sort of feels like a tradition, I guess, if you call it like that. But that somebody always kind of returns for the pay per view, and being
Mhm.
that this happened later on in the card, people are kind of narrowing down like the people that could return. So people are like, wait, so Brick could be one of them, or like kind of like process of elimination to put it like that, because the
Mhm.
match happening, I like you said, I didn't like the interruption because I feel like it was a feel good moment for
Mhm.
Mercedes. And don't get me wrong, I love the reaction that Britt got because she has been
Mhm.
out of TV for like over a year at this point. So the reaction that she got was amazing. I really enjoyed it because then this week after Forbidden Door and at Dynamite, her being there already made Mercedes a heel, and Mercedes hadn't really been much of a heel in that sort of way. And I feel like Mercedes exceeds at being a heel. So it was great in that moment seeing that. And I love the
Mhm.
reaction that overall breakout. But like you said, I didn't like the fact that this happened the way it happened. Especially if you're not gonna come down, why just be at the ramp? Just make your go face to face with her and kind of like point at the championship or like give her the waist kind of thing. Like I want that championship, something along those lines. Like you
Yeah.
don't have to get physical, but you could have gone a little bit closer to her when this happened. That would be like the
Oh
only
yeah.
thing that I kind of wanted out of it. But it just
Mhm.
feels like at this point, this is the match we're all in. We're in the beginning of July, so we have over a month of build up. I feel like we're gonna get a lot of promos, and we're not gonna get matches between them until into the pay per view happens. And this is the only part that I don't like
Mhm.
about this kind of gap there, because now we're gonna get a lot of like interruptions and a lot of promos. And it's like I like the promos and they're great both talkers, and I feel like they're gonna have a good back and forth because we've already seen that. But once
Mhm.
it happens once or twice, it's fine. But after three, four, five times, it's gonna get a little bit exhausting. So we definitely have to
Mhm.
find a little bit of a balance here. So I'm curious to see what it'll be. So now, especially if Mercedes does have creative freedom, I wonder how that will entail with her being involved in this. But I'm looking forward to it
Mhm.
because we have the story of like the old guard versus the new guard, and it's nice to see that because as I said in our last episode, this women's division is different from the women's division that Britt started. So it's very interesting
Mhm.
seeing that kind of change here. Being Mercedes is one of the examples of that. And also, I agree with your point of Mercedes is something that's very marketable as well. So it does make sense of her being a champion too. But Yeah, this was like one that I really was torn about so much. But again, overall, I'm really happy for the woman getting this kind of spotlight. And just thinking about the fact that this put Stephanie on the map for a lot of people as well, and just thinking about the fact that a lot of people know more Stephanie now and are gonna be following her because of it too. But I wanted to go back here and not, even though we're talking about both of them already in different ways, I want to talk about what just happened on Dynamite to end the show. It was the
Mhm.
finals of the Owen Hart Cup, so it was Willow versus Mariah. And spoiler for those of you that know, Mariah won. But right after she won, we definitely had a shocking moment tonight. This was something that I expected to happen somehow, but not tonight for sure. Based on the story that people have said from the beginning when she debuted, and it was the story of like she kind of makes like her mentor kind of like have a close relationship with her to the point that she's going to be the one to betray her eventually to get the championship. It's kind of like what the story is based off of. So it's something that I expected to happen. I just didn't think it was going to happen tonight when we have such a long wait until all the pay per view happens. But to end a dynamite this way with the ladies and to get the chance that they got, I'm gonna lower the volume because I don't want us to get flagged, but I definitely want to show the visual of what we got tonight. So let's see if I can make this happen. Okay, so this is right after Mariah wins the tournament. It's just the visual alone.
Watch out for the belt.
No, watch out for the shoe.
The shoe just got booted.
Yeah, I like that she went for Luther too. She was like, I no mercy. I'm going for hit for
I,
you too.
I would have hit him harder.
I was gonna say, just give it a moment. Just like, you can tell,
Girl,
like this is like
girl, but
it's
we
the
gotta
pent
have
up aggression that she's had for the last few months. I like hear the facial expressions that Tony's giving us, though, like the pain that she's feeling, like obviously not just outside, but inside as well from the betrayal. So this is like Mariah looks like a badass now.
I mean,
I know
I
she is,
told
but
you. I told
yeah,
you.
I know she is, but it's nice to see it finally.
Gosh, did she blade or something? God
I,
dang.
I was thinking, I was wondering what she was hitting Luther. Maybe she did play, but I'm not sure. Look at this part.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
damn.
Right? This
She
visual does
did
not happen in AW.
You know what this is giving me flashbacks of? Do you remember Barbed Wire with Pamela Anderson? Pamela
No.
Anderson Lee?
Look, even Audrey got in the, got some of it.
I think she
But
like
look,
unalived a guy with her stiletto in that
okay.
movie. It's giving me vibes.
And then this part too. Look at this. This is when she gets the chance to say Usick F because I don't want to say it. Like, what?
Bosom. Bosom.
Not anymore. But that visual, Tony's facial expressions through this whole thing,
Oh, she's so
just
good.
on point. Just
So
on point.
so good.
Look at
I
that.
feel like this timeless Tony Storm is a just extension of who she really is as a person, just cranked up
Yep.
a little bit, like just the kookiness, the facial expressions. Oh, there was a lot of blood in her mouth too. Ugh.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll put it here a little bit there again. Just so this is definitely the a cliffhanger ending to Dynamite. So can you imagine that? Uh, I just this is something like I said that you don't see really in AEW. So this was very surprising in that aspect as well. Yeah, I was so shocked, and I seen so many reactions to it online as well already, and just incredible. And I was like, this is what I was waiting to see how long it would take for that to happen with Mariah because now she's gonna be, like become such a superstar from this. And thinking like, imagine her at Wembley winning that championship. What a moment for her when that happens.
That would
Woo.
be utterly incredible. And you're right, it's shocking to see someone bleeding more than John Moxley on AEW.
That's very true. I didn't think about that. Yeah, it's like
Oh, Lordy.
the ladies don't get to do stuff like that. So just overall surprising.
I wish I was there, selfishly. This is the night that it's happening. It's in Calgary. It's only 4 hours away, but god damn it. Gas is expensive. Otherwise I'd be there.
Very much
So
so. It
no.
just
I didn't really know this match was happening in Calgary. So otherwise, I'd be there.
Yeah, and like I told you, even off screen, the moment that they announced the Owen Hart Cup, and I saw the bracket, I was thinking, Mariah's gonna win this, and we're gonna get Mariah Toni at All In, aren't we? And this is what's happening, right? Right? Please tell me this is what's happening. And just seeing that tonight, I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. Um, but yeah, the other thing that we wanted to talk about, and that's our main event, as I like to say, for today, is the breaking news, I guess, in a way. Well, first, it started happening. Let me look up the time when it originally happened so I can quote this correctly. I think it was, I know it happened this afternoon because I think I was working when this got released. Oh no, so it happened, about 10 hours ago at this point when we're recording. And this was around 1 p.m. Eastern, and it's a joint statement from NJPW with CMLL regarding Stephanie Vaquer. So it was kind of, to me, it was a little bit scary at first with the wording that they used, because the wording in itself, I read the first one that in Spanish I was posted in the Discord that we have. So I was like, wait, the wording makes it seem like something like odd happened to her. And I was like a little bit like, wait, what happened to her? I was a little bit scared in that aspect. Um, but I'll read the English one. It says, thank you for supporting CMLL and New Japan Pro Wrestling, citing personal reasons. So be the personal reasons part is the part that really kind of scared me a little bit. I was like, what happened to her? I was like, she was okay at Forbidden Door not too long ago. Stephanie has elected to depart from CMLL and New Japan rosters effective immediately. As a result, Vaquer will not compete in her scheduled match against Juvia at Fantastic Mania July 13th in San Jose. Furthermore, CMLL hereby announces Vaquer stripped of both the CMLL World Women's and World Women's Tag Team Championships. This was another kind of red flag for me. I was thinking, why would you take her titles away like that? I was like, what did she do? Like, she's been putting you guys on the map. What do you mean? And both CMLL and LGPW would like to apologize to our fans worldwide for the abrupt announcement. This Saturday at Fantastic Mania, a new CMLL World Women's Champion will be crowned in a three-way. And it'll be Juvia from CMLL versus Viva Van from NJPW and Willow from AEW. We remain committed to ensuring the highest quality wrestling for our fans at Fantastica Mania USA this Saturday and at all future events. So that happened at 1 p.m. and they released it in Spanish and English. But with the wording, it was a little bit concerning. I was like, I wonder what really happened to her when this came out. So it was really, it made a lot of people start talking, to the point that people are wondering what's happening with Stephanie. Did she sign with AEW? But I'm like, being that AEW is in a partnership with both CMLL and New Japan, it made people think that it was an AEW. I don't know if you saw it when this happened. What were your initial thoughts before everything else happened? We'll go by stages.
My thought was a GIF, and that was "Don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious."
Yes.
Yeah, the stripping. I mean, she's leaving, so obviously she can't take the titles with her. You just say she relinquished titles upon departure. We didn't have to say stripping her of them. It makes it sound like the decision to strip her was made before her decision was made to leave. That being said, though, as soon as Forbidden Door happened, I kind of looked at the situation and went, "Well, we know where she's not going. Strip
Yeah.
her of the title there and put it on somebody." That's why I kind of felt, and I go back to the end of the match. It felt odd. This is probably why. She probably already knew she was not going to
Yep.
be going to AEW and was just, I don't want to say Ace Austin. No, what's his name? Who's the guy who did the thing to John Morrison? Who's Austin is in the name somewhere, I think. Austin Aries. Remember
Yeah.
where he just did the match and then popped up and walked out?
Yep.
It gave me similar vibes.
Ooh.
Like Stephanie sold the end of that greatly,
Mm-hmm.
but she recovered a little too quickly and exited a little too quickly to my liking.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it kind of felt a little weird to me. Um, yeah, given again, going back to the AEW thing, she dropped the strong title. At that moment kind of told me she's going to WWE. She's
Mm-hmm.
not going to be sticking around. And then we kind of discussed it a little bit more. I didn't actually understand the connection. Now I kind of do. Um, I've been hearing Roosh is also a problem for her, given the personal situation that she has with
Mm-hmm.
her ex person who did some nasty shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't want
yeah,
to say the wording because I don't know if it will get flagged. Hopefully not. But
yeah,
a lot of people thought she obviously was part of Forbidden Door because she didn't have to be in AW often to be part of the Forbidden Door like build-up. But thinking
mhm,
like if she were to sign, for example, Rouge is there on a weekly basis almost. And for those that
mhm.
don't know, Stephanie's ex, I don't know if it's husband or boyfriend, but or let's say partner to put it like that,
Pero, yeah.
um, was abusive towards her. And Rouge is one of the people campaigning for him to be released from, I don't know, if from jail or whatever, bail, whatever it is, but basically campaigning in favor of the guy, the abuser. So a lot of people think that she was most likely not going to sign with AEW, knowing that Rouge is there on a weekly basis, somebody that supports her abuser, which obviously makes
Mhm,
sense in that aspect as well. Thinking it's like, all the money in the world, but I'm not gonna feel safe when I'm there. So that really gives you don't have that peace of mind to put it like that. So that's what made me think about
mhm,
when I watched Forbidden Door. I was thinking, I don't think she's going to AEW. She's only doing this build up because it's something that's temporary to put it like that. And she was only
mhm,
there for I think 1 week or two in AEW programming, and he wasn't there. So
mhm,
it made sense for me that way, and they probably did what they could to protect her in that moment. I'm pretty sure that probably something like along those lines happened to make sure that Forbidden Door was able to happen. So that was
mhm,
the first thing that happened today. The second thing was around 2:36 p.m. Eastern time, because obviously it's my time, so I just want to specify that with the timeline that we got. Stephanie posted in this one, well, she did it in Spanish, but I'll translate it as best as possible. She said, "In this moment, I will not be part of CMLO and NJPW," which is again another thing. I was like, I like how she's putting both company names, not just CMLO. So I was like, okay, that's a little bit strange. And she's like, basically to clarify, I am leaving through the bigger door. And I was like, that's what made me think of like, you just went through the forbidden door. So you're telling me there's a bigger door than that? I see you. Um, she's like, I'm thankful for everything in CMLO New Japan, and I leave in the best terms. And she did like a little thread. She's like, from today, I leave vacant the championships, meaning both the ones that they mentioned in the statement, and she basically apologizes for anybody that she affected. She's like, for obvious reasons, I won't be present in the next shows, and I hope that they like basically that you get to understand, and both companies understand the terms in which I'm leaving. And there's everything that was communicated. Uh, and she said, to Mexico with my heart. Like she was very happy to represent them, even though she's from Chile, but she was in Mexico quite often. So she said, "Thank you to everybody, and thank you for your support to her people and her partners." So this was at 2:36 p.m. But I have a picture here that was posted. Let's see the time frame at this point. We had a lot of people talking at this point, assuming about what's going to happen. So this other post came up a little bit later on. I remember getting home. My brother shows me, oh, somebody posted this on an Instagram account because my brother doesn't have Twitter. And then they showed me the picture, and I said, no, that has to be fake. And he's like, how would you know? It just happened 10 minutes ago. And I said, yeah, but I just left work 10 minutes ago. I didn't see anything. He goes, you were driving. Check. And I checked, and I couldn't believe it was true. So to show you, this was posted at 5:32 p.m. Eastern time from the man himself, the cook, the chef, Shawn Michaels. Welcome to the WWE family, Stephanie Vaquer. See you in Orlando. So, I'll tell you that it doesn't happen for Shawn Michaels to be posting something like this on social media accounts that he doesn't post himself, to be honest. Um, so this doesn't really happen in WWE. Usually, when they sign somebody, they do the picture with the NXT class, is what we call it, which everybody has the great like gray shirts, and they all pose together in the PC when they all get signed, which is something that's bound to
mhm,
happen when Julia is ready because she's the head of the next class. So when that picture with Julia drops is when you know that's a new like the new crop of signings. So this post like that doesn't happen, to be honest. So I know we have now. I'm thinking about the fact that we have Roxanne as champion because she's headed to NXT because he's at Orlando, to clarify that. And I also want to clarify it's not because of her wrestling, because she's a great wrestler. It's because WWE likes to teach people their ways of how they do everything in their system. So that's why she's going to NXT, which is great for her because I think she definitely would, like, it will be helpful for her to learn the ropes of the WWE way of doing things, which is something separate from what she's doing. But thinking of the fact that we have Roxanne Perez as champion. She's been hinting for months now, I think weeks and months, saying there's nobody in the world that can beat me. Nobody. But then we have Julia coming and Stephanie on top of it. The chef is very much cooking a great meal right now. So thinking about, we have Julia coming, we have Stephanie coming, and then we have Delta, who's an Australian pro wrestler, a female wrestler coming as well. Three women's wrestlers coming soon that haven't been like officially like announced yet because this is the first one that he announces. Holy crap. Is what I could think about. And I was like, Chef Shawn Michaels, you are actually cooking. And then we have the TNA partnership on top of this. It's a great time to be an NXT fan. Let me tell you that. How did you feel when you saw this though?
Well, when I saw this picture, I'm like, you're not following Shawn Michaels?
No, I don't. No, I don't follow a lot of wrestlers.
Shawn the non-believer.
I thought it was fake. No, I really had to click on the profile to be sure it was his profile.
The blue check mark?
No, even that, because there's people that fake the blue check marks and they put the spellings of the names that are so similar. Yeah, I had to double triple check. This was the account when I saw this. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't. I still can't believe it when I see it. And I was like, what? What is this?
Yeah, I mean, you guys are chopping up a lot of talent right there with the kind of hypothetical joiner with Marigold also in Japan. This could be nothing but good for both of these companies. My concern, and my only concern, is that it's reminiscent of a certain dementia era who was just smacking up a lot of people and weren't doing shit with them. How many times did Tennille hired and fired in the last little while, and we didn't even get to see her, let alone, you know. That being said, though, I want to look at this from a positive light and say you guys have just gotten arguably one of the best luchadoras in the world. I've not seen someone who compares to her combination of lucha and power. Like, she's so good, but then on top of that, she's got this dark effort. Like, look at this picture. She's got that dark, effortless charisma about her that just radiates. You have to pay attention to her. She's one of those people who you can't not look at when she walks into a room. So, yeah, I actually wouldn't. But based on what I'm hearing about, was it Roxanne? I don't want to see them fight each other. Screw that. I want to see them tag.
I would say
Two
both, to be honest.
see two angry Latinas taking on that entire locker room. Let's go.
Yeah, and thinking of, like, she reacted to it not so long after. And yes, I do follow Stephanie. There's a difference there. But
So I
I
don't
just
see the follow option at the top there.
see things, you notice things. No, it's like I'm still shocked this happened today, all in a span of like less than 24 hours. I've heard that we get the statement from CMLL New Japan, we get her statement, and then we get Shawn Michaels tweeting this. It's just like all in less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
I'm just shocked because usually stuff like this doesn't happen. When, like I said, when they sign people, they try to sign them together in a whole group, and then they post a picture together, and that's what they call the new class, is what they call them. And thinking of the fact that I don't know if she'll be joining that class or not, if it'll be something different with her. But the new, like I said, the principal or the person is Julia, the head of the class, and then one of them is Delta, who's also somebody that I've been introduced to recently, thanks to Ella and everything with Jessica Troy as well. So if you haven't checked her out, go check out Delta. She had a match with Jordan recently, Jordan Grace. So I would check that out if you haven't. So think about the fact that we have Roxanne as our head as a world champion, with these three girls on their way, and who knows who else because they haven't announced anybody else either so far. What is happening in NXT? Like, this is amazing to think about. This is the women's division. NXT is already stacked as it is because we have so many
Mhm.
talented women on a weekly basis. And to get these women coming in here on top of it, I cannot begin to imagine what this is going to be like. Like the fact, imagine like Stephanie, Julia, and Roxanne all being involved with the World Championship. I'm sold. I'm definitely sold. And it hasn't even happened yet.
I would love to throw a fourth name into that, who I have been seeing a lot of talk about, and Megan Bayne,
Mm-hmm.
Megasis, who had the match of the year in Stardom 2023 with Julia. I mean, there's so many women right now on the scene. Come on now. Guys gotta
Yeah.
start scooping these ladies up. Can't be WWE grabbing all of them.
Yeah. And just another thing that was pointed out during this whole ordeal today is that people have said that when CMLO doesn't have like a contract in like the way that we in AEW has, that if they do get an offer from somebody as big as AEW or WWE, that they will obviously just kind of let you go in a way so you can take that opportunity. So that's
Mhm.
another thing when they said that statement, people are thinking, "Oh, she's WWE bound," because when they get a bigger offer than what they have, they let them go to put it like that, like right away. So it was sort of a hint that was happening. Then later on through the day, we get a report from Fightful as well saying that Stephanie was at NXT Heatwave over the weekend, which was in Canada. So she was there backstage apparently over the weekend. I say, and nobody said this, but this was happening the whole weekend, and it comes out now. What? Like I'm just
I
shocked.
mean,
I'm
there's
still.
also a distinct possibility that the people backstage didn't know who she was,
Okay, but yeah,
which is unfortunate because if you're in this business, you should probably know a thing or two about the people
mm,
also in the business. But
yeah,
it is a possibility that either, their NDAs went into effect and everyone listened,
I know,
or,
surprisingly,
right?
but I can't believe this all happened in such a short period of time. And thinking, and to put another layer to this, Jordan Grace's contract expires next year. I think in January, if I'm not mistaken, January, April. It's really early on next year. Let me tell you that WWE will be in a contract in her front door by midnight when I had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're back anyway. But no, I was just thinking of the roster that we have right now and how amazing it's going to be for between this beginning of the end of this year, basically for the second half of this year, the beginning of next year,
Mhm.
that they're going to be in CW and we have the Netflix deal, like so many things happening for WWE. So I'm just thinking about the
Mhm.
fact that so many women are just joining this NXT roster. It's incredible to think about. But
Mhm.
that's all I can think about. It's just like in my brain, I'm already like Roxanne and Julia, Roxanne and Stephanie, Roxanne and Jordan again. Like holy crap! And that's only her. I cannot begin to imagine the rest of the girls that we have that are so talented that are going to be able to learn from each other like they usually do in NXT. So yeah, I'm really excited for
Mhm.
this. It's like how do you feel now after we filled all our timeline for today?
I mean, I just love wrestling. And I want to see everyone happy in wrestling and happy enjoying watching wrestling. And I want to hear less people bitching about it. But I,
Yeah.
this is again just phenomenal opportunities. And I've been asking for years for company crossovers. And when New Japan did it the first time with Stardom and they had that historic crossover show, I was like,
Okay.
I was so happy. And now we've just seen the ball keep going. We've seen NJPW and CMLL join up. We've seen kind of AAA and CMLL and AEW kind of join up. We've seen AEW and NJPW join up. We've seen AEW and ROH join up. Now we're seeing WWE and Impact join up. WWE and Marigold join up. Like, this is such an incredible time for people to be wrestling fans of these companies because you're going to be subjected to new wrestlers, new styles, new moves, new looks. and then it's going to be a perpetual new thing every couple of
Mhm.
months to be excited about and be
Yeah.
reinvigorated about, which is something that I'm missing in my indie scene right now, if I'm being completely honest, where I am.
Yeah.
You need that draw to bring people continuously back, especially if you want to be these multi-million, multi-billion dollar
Mhm.
conglomerates like WWE and AEW. They're changing the game up. They're changing how things have been and taking them in a new direction to see if they're going to be successful for the companies. I'm kind of living for it. I'm excited to see what it is that I get to see in exchange in Japan.
Yeah.
Because I watch Marigold and I watch Stardom, I watch NJPW. Now I'm watching DDT and Noah, and we're seeing an exchange of talents with those guys as well.
Yeah.
We're even getting Konosuke Takeshita in the
Yep.
G1. Like,
Oof.
hello, it's going to be
Yeah.
great. What a time to be a wrestling fan.
And I know, like, I forget the name of it. I know you probably know more than I do. We also have the pay per view later on that's gonna be the Tokyo Dome with it is New Japan and Stardom. I think CMLL as well on AW. I know it's later on in the year, but I forget around what date it's gonna happen. But I know it's in the
And
Tokyo Dome.
oh yes,
I forget the
we
name
just
though.
literally talked about it. Is Russell something? I think it's like Russell Dream or something like that.
I think
I
maybe
have to
yeah,
double check.
but I was thinking
I just
basically
know
this is
that
like Forbidden
Fantastica
Door Part
Mania is
Two.
happening next week.
Yeah, so I'm like, I can imagine that paper is gonna be like Forbidden Door Part Two, basically. So that's just incredible. I love the healthy kind of relationships we're getting in partnerships between both companies. I feel like they're doing it very well this time around
Mhm,
compared to before, and I feel like they're really helping each other with that back and forth, and it's really getting well done. Um,
mhm,
I love this partnership so far with the way that NXT is doing with TNA. I'm just loving it because I'm like these are two of like I want to say like my favorite kind of brands that I kind of
mhm,
I don't want to say grew up with, but it feels kind of that way for me. Being that first it was NXT and then it kind of jumped to TNA and then NXT like that. Those were like my top two. Most of the
mhm,
time that of the programming that I watched like faithfully. So just seeing them like now being in a partnership is just incredible to think about. I like you said, it's just an incredible time to be a fan. And I figured that that's what
mhm,
we felt like we had an emergency recording with this happening today and everything. I knew we had to talk about it. And it was exciting, but yeah, I
mhm,
just I,
100%.
I just don't know what to say. It feels amazing to be witnessing this in this time as a wrestling fan.
It's very, very exciting to see happening, and it's very exciting to see where it's going to go because we're seeing an evolution within AEW finally. It's
Yeah,
kind of felt like it's taken a little long to get there, but I guess we had to give them a couple grace years to
yeah, the build up, yeah.
figure their ish out. Yeah,
hmm
hitting
Yeah,
their
but
stride.
that was all we have for today. We figured we get on and talk about the important stuff that happened so far this week before we
Mhm.
forgot about it. So Melba, where can the people find you? What do you have going on?
If you're wanting to follow Melville, you can follow her on the X thing at Collins Melville. You can follow her on everything else: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Mastodon, and Blue Sky.